Have you ever had one of those moments where reality just feels a little bit weird? Almost like a dream you can't quite shake? Well, that feeling is exactly what we're diving into with one of philosophy's all-time greatest thought experiments, the brain-in-a-vat argument. It's a real mind-bender, designed to make you question everything you think you know for sure. So let's just start with a super direct question. I want you to look around, right now. Seriously, look at the screen you're watching. Feel the chair you're sitting on. Look at your own hands. How do you actually know with 100% certainty that any of this is real? Okay, to really dig into that question, we gotta set the stage. We need to build a scenario. Think of it as the perfect trap for the mind, a hypothetical deception designed to push our understanding of knowledge to its absolute limit. So let's build this thing piece by piece. Okay, so picture this. Sometime in the past, maybe it was last night while you were sleeping, your brain was painlessly, perfectly removed from your body. You didn't feel a thing, you were totally unaware it even happened. Now, this brain, and remember, we're talking about your brain here, it's not just sitting in a box somewhere. No, it's floating in a special vat filled with all the nutrients it needs to stay alive and perfectly healthy. As far as the brain itself is concerned, nothing's wrong. And here's where it gets wild. Every single nerve ending in your brain is hooked up to this incredibly powerful supercomputer. I mean, we're talking technology way beyond anything we have today. This machine is now the brain's only connection to, well, to anything. And what does this computer do? It feeds your brain a flawless simulation of reality. Every single sight, every sound, every feeling, the warmth of the sun, the taste of your favorite food, even the feeling of you listening to my voice right now, it's all just electrical signals being sent from the computer. It's all just code. So we have our setup, a brain floating in a vat, living inside of a perfect computer simulation. This brings us right to the core of the problem. The whole reason this thought experiment is so tricky. The simulation is flawless. Let's talk about what that really means. See, in what we call the real world, your eyes, ears, and nerves gather information and send it to your brain. Simple enough, right? But in this vat world, the computer sends the exact same signals directly to your brain. So from your brain's perspective, there's literally no difference. The input is identical, which means the experience is completely indistinguishable. And that right there is the killer question, isn't it? If every single thing you think, feel, and experience is exactly the same whether you're in the real world or the vat, how could you ever know which one you're in? What kind of test could you possibly run from inside your own head to figure it out? Now, this whole thing moves from just a creepy sci-fi idea to a powerful philosophical argument. So let's break down the logic. It's actually really simple, but it leads to a conclusion that is, well, it's pretty unsettling. Okay, the logic goes like this. Step 1, your experience of the world would be exactly the same whether you're a person in the world or a brain in a vat. We've covered that. Step 2, because the experiences are identical, you have zero evidence to prove you're in one scenario and not the other, which leads us to the big conclusion. Therefore, you cannot be absolutely certain that the world you're experiencing right now is real. Look, at this point, you're probably thinking, this is just a paranoid fantasy. And you know what? That's a totally fair reaction. But the real goal here isn't to convince you that you are a brain in a vat. The point is to use this crazy scenario to ask a much, much bigger question about what it means to know something in the first place. This quote really just hits the nail on the head. The argument doesn't prove we're all living a lie. What it does is it proves that we can't be 100% sure that we aren't. It's like a philosophical crowbar, designed to create a little crack in the foundation of our certainty and force us to admit that we might not have all the answers. You know, there's a name for this whole branch of philosophy. It's called epistemology. It's basically the study of knowledge itself. It asks the really big questions, like, what does it even mean to know something? And how can we justify what we believe? And the brain in a vat is one of its most famous and most challenging problems. And please, don't make the mistake of thinking this is just some dusty old academic debate. This idea is more relevant today than it has ever been. It's the granddaddy of modern ideas like the simulation hypothesis. You know, the theory that our universe is just a massive computer simulation. It makes us think about consciousness as we build more advanced AI, and with virtual reality getting more and more realistic every year, these questions aren't just philosophical anymore. The line is getting blurrier all the time. So, we've walked through the whole setup, the logic behind it, and why it still matters today. But like any good philosophical puzzle, this one doesn't have a neat little bow you can tie on it at the end. It's supposed to stick with you. So I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Let's just pretend for a second. Let's say you found out tomorrow, with absolute proof, that you are a brain in a vat. Everything, all your memories, your friends, your family, your greatest achievements, your deepest heartbreaks, it was all part of the program. Would that make it all meaningless? Would the love you feel for someone or the pride you feel in your work suddenly disappear just because it wasn't real in the way you thought? What do you think?